Stephen King wrote that nightmares exist outside of logic, and there's little fun to be had in explanations. When you look back at the most interesting and unique games, what makes them so excellent is hard to explain, because creativity and originality within a game is something that you just have to see for yourself. You go in knowing nothing, and then all of a sudden, with a flick of a switch, the game is brought to light. And sometimes out of that darkness comes a narrative that will stick with you for years. Red Dead 2, God of War 2018, Disco Elysium, Cyberpunk. These are just a few rare games that have really stuck with me for years, and I remember them even more vividly than some movies and shows because of the personal connection you have when you're literally playing and engaging with the game. And Alan Wake is one of those narrative games that sticks with you. Yeah, unlike all those other games, it's not a game that I love because it's a game, because funny enough, this game on a mechanical gameplay level is kinda bad. There are thousands upon thousands of pages in the wiki on this game's lore, and then the gameplay in this game can be summed up by...
Anyway, I started blasting. Bang!
Wow.
Bang! Well, I don't see so good, so I missed. Then they ran away. I ran after them.
Okay.
Bang! Try to shoot him in the back. But I don't run so good either. Anyway, you guys all think I'm a hero, and I'll accept that responsibility.
It is one of the best narrative games I've ever played, yet at the same time, I don't always want to play this game. The gameplay is clunky, Alan is a fat slob of a writer who doesn't move well at all, he runs out of ammo constantly, the enemies are repetitive, and I keep getting attacked by birds and random poles. Get this off my screen. Yet also, when I played this game, something clicked, and I couldn't stop playing it. I haven't beaten a game this fast in years because I could not put this game down because of its narrative. It sunk its nails into me, and I was hooked. And I think that just makes it one of the most interesting and unique games that's ever been made. So why is Alan Wake the best game you never want to play? Alan Wake's premise is pretty ordinary for a video game. You are Alan Wake from New York City. So Alan is a writer, and he is what we call mentally ill. And he is heading to the Pacific Northwest of Bright Falls with his wife Alice with hopes to overcome his writer's block. We have a mentally ill writer before his wife falls in a lake, he gets a DUI and a revolver and is told he must fight his personal and literal demons with a flashlight and 4 AA batteries. No, I am not joking, this is the story. The only problem with this is for Alan to fight darkness, he needs to use his flashlight to burn away the darkness so then he can shoot him with his revolver. If you run out of flashlight, that's okay, you can get AA batteries out of these red little free libraries. This is the most insane game I've played. You might be asking, am I rambling? If anyone's played this game, no, I'm not rambling. This is all critical for you finding your wife in the game's story. This game is insanity, and if you're asking, was this game made by people with no sleep and too much caffeine? Yes. Yet the confusion in this game is done deliberately, because Alan is not a character in the story that we are supposed to fully trust. Most games we are able to trust what our protagonist is seeing as reality. It's not like Mario is going to hit a jump and then realize what he needs to do is flash back to his childhood trauma to retrieve an item from the past that symbolically burns his way forward in the story he's in and writing. No one would ever make that game. That is the ramblings of an insane man. Look at him. This guy is the best writer in video games, by the way. The game of Alan Wake works on its own internal logic that doesn't make sense outside of its own game. Yet somehow, through all of this confusion and insane setup, the game is able to be so engaging because of the mystery at the center of this game. Alan Wake is a game that is extremely layered, like lasagna. It jumps back and forth between different aspects of reality, different time periods, and jumping between different locations and questioning your own character's sanity. Yet through all of that insanity that would throw most people off, you're able to stay grounded due to the center question of what happened at Cauldron Lake. That initial question is so engaging within the main narrative that it drives you every time to boot up the next chapter, which creates a narrative that should be talked about for years. You know that annoying mystery box storytelling structure that J.J. Abrams prides his entire career on? Alan Wake uses that narrative style, but actually pulls it off and has a completely engaging story and an incredible ending that ends the mystery of what happened. And the narrative is so well done with the parallels of what is real. What is causing this? Are these Alan's literal demons that are coming back to haunt him, such as his alcoholism, lack of control, and self-centeredness? Where does the reality end and where does the fiction begin? It's something that you're never fully able to understand. The only thing you know is the game becomes more dangerous and more horrifying the deeper Alan goes to confront his issues in this hellish landscape of Washington. The more Alan dives into the lake to fight his demons, the more problems we see engulfing him as we wonder if this is a story that's going to actually eat him alive. As a game, this is one of those gold standards of what a creative swing is and what can be done with the video game industry and the incredible stories that only video games allow us to see. It is so creative with what it does on an execution and thematic level that it's insane insane that this game is not fully remembered for being one of the best games ever made. Why is that though? Why isn't this game loved? It's the gameplay. Now you're probably nervous that I'm gonna spend just as much time as I spent on the narrative as the gameplay, and that is just not gonna happen because I can explain the gameplay in about one sentence. Aim flashlight at ghoul. Wait, fire. That's it for 10 hours. Alan Wake struggles to find a gameplay style that matches the creative insanity that the narrative is offering. You fight bulldozers with a flashlight, you fight lumberjacks and ghouls, and then you fight trash cans on bridges. What happened? For a story on the struggle between reality and the difficulty in having your own flaws catch up to you, it's very funny that the gameplay, which is one of Remedy's weak points in all their games, is something that ends up catching up to them. But just like with Alan, you want to give him the benefit of the doubt. When you have moments like this, it's hard to not see what they were trying to do. There are so many well thought out and creative segments at play throughout this entire game that the flaws in this game become almost endearing. You see so consistently how high of a bar they were swinging for that you gotta love it even when they come up a little short. Not all of it though, this sucks, like this is terrible. How did this not get fixed in the remaster? He's missing your shots, what are you aiming at? But like with those weird movies you love in your life as well, you gotta tune your frequency to the setting it's working on. You gotta meet the piece of art halfway, because if you're not gonna meet it on the wavelength it's operating on, all you're gonna get is static. Alan Wake is a game that wants you to meet it on its level. If you play this game, you're either going to find a game that you end up loving and connecting with very deeply, or it's going to be a game that drives you up the wall crazy. But if a Stephen King inspired novel of a game sounds fun, but instead of being fueled by booger sugar, it's fueled by coffee and love for David Lynch, then this game you're just going to absolutely love. And I can't explain it. I can't explain logically why I love this game. And you know what? I think there's something special to that. Wouldn't it be crazy though if they made a game 13 years later that was a sequel to this game and ended up being one of the best games of all time?